I chose the standpoint theory, which basically states that different aspects of our identity shape how we perceive society. And these aspects are going to be made up of two different dimensions. One is a primary dimension, which one has no control over, such as your race, gender, your sexual orientation, or your social class. And then also a secondary dimension, which one does have control over, such as their education level, their career choice, and their relationship status. So these different dimensions are what make up our identity, which affects how we perceive our society. Then this theory is within chapter 2, which discusses perception and self within communication. And the chapter begins with a really interesting little article about the Sudanese men known as Lost Boys who were abducted in the Second Civil War in South Sudan. And I just thought that this was really interesting because it really helped me understand the standpoint theory. It discusses these men, how they were abducted, which made them orphans. They have no idea what it's like to have parents, a mother, a nurturing mother, or a father. So that right there just makes them completely different from me, who grew up in a household with a mother and a father. They also were born into war, so this kind of struggle was just a part of their life from when they were born. And I thought that because that they were born during wartime and they were actually abducted, this would cause them to maybe feel lonely or more depressed, or even have a more negative outlook on life in general from maybe a person who was born, in a free land without war, with a mother and a father. And they also, some of the men got the opportunity to come to America, and in the article it kind of discussed how they felt once they were here. They in the article came to New York, and it talked about how they went to church one day and they all walked in a group because that's just what they were used to. When they were abducted, they would march in these giant groups, so they just stayed together. It made them feel more safe. When they came to America, they were afraid of being abducted again, so they would walk in these huge groups. And after church one day, some of the New Yorkers asked them if they were a part of a gang because they were all in this giant group, and they were just kind of shocked by that. But I just thought it was really interesting because it shows you people's standpoints. In New York there are gangs, there are things like that, so when the New Yorkers see a large group of people, that's just the first thing they think. That's part of their standpoint as a New Yorker. And then the standpoint of the Sudanese men was just for protection, to feel safe. And I just thought that was really interesting, conflicting standpoints right there that really helped me understand the theory in general. Another interesting thing in the article was the way that the New Yorkers responded to the Sudanese men. It said that when they were in Sudan, when they would walk around, they would just greet everyone they saw. It was just part of their culture. And once they came to New York, they would try to greet people on the street, and they were really uncomfortable and ignored them because that just wasn't part of the culture there. So that's another interesting way to view the standpoint theory. These New Yorkers are on a mission. They're not paying attention to anyone around them, but the Sudanese men, it was just natural for them to be really friendly to strangers on the street. And then I just kind of wanted to follow up with my own personal standpoint theory, because I think putting it through my eyes helped me understand it as well. So I just think that some of my dimensions could be that I'm a white female, heterosexual. I'm the youngest of 5 sisters, and I'm also a child of a divorced family. And I just think that being the youngest of 5 sisters has caused me to be really patient. It's also caused me to be really tolerant because I've had to kind of deal with 4 different opinions going on at once besides my own. So it's caused me to kind of be the type of person that sits back and pays attention to everything that's going on around me and just I wait to state my opinion. And then also being a child of divorce, I think that's caused me to be really understanding and also very cautious in relationships, because I've seen the sort of negative effects of going too fast. So I think that those, I guess those are really primary dimensions because I haven't had any control over any of that, but I think that that's really affected my standpoint as a person. It's caused me to kind of sit back and observe what's going on around me before I immediately judge anything that's going on in my society or right in front of my eyes. So I hope that that was helpful in understanding standpoint theory.